I will switch over to that scene, is from Papa Smurf 6834. And their question is, are we months away from the Alpha 2 or years plural? Any kind of indication of the timetable would be greatly appreciated. And I think from my team, they would also love for us to set that expectation because they deal with this question all the time.
Yes,
And so I'm
yes.
kind of throwing it to you, Stephen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this is a common question. Desiring minds wish to know. We are not years away from Alpha 2. But also Alpha 2 is not right around the corner. As a public project, as a project that is visible from the outside during its development, it's important that we execute well during these testing phases. And early on in the project, I made some missteps in when we were anticipating coming to certain testing periods. Obviously, I have learned a considerable amount over what it takes to build these games over the last 6 years, and we made a promise to the community that we would not give dates again in the future unless we were very certain that we were going to hit those dates, or at least be very close to hitting them. And so, as a result of that, we have our internal schedule. We have our internal milestones. We have our production roadmap that we operate from, and the teams operate very well from these expectations internally as well. But to answer that question, no, we're not years away from Alpha 2. Internally, we are going to be doing some testing probably late this year and early next year as it relates to Alpha 2. And Alpha 2 is going to be, kind of a slow roll out of testing. So our desire is to get in as quickly as possible, test some of the core systems and loops that we've integrated, since our Alpha 1, and get those vetted by player feedback and experience that we can iterate upon, essentially, and get an opportunity. And that's going to be all public, right? You guys know that Alpha 2 is a non-NDA'd environment testing. But prior to Alpha 2, we will test some more spot-oriented testing with some of the Alpha 1 testers and or PI, leading up to what would eventually become the Alpha 2 launch.
And we'll probably start with PI so that we have a smaller group, and then we'll add on to it with our spot testing with Alpha 1 users. And then as we're ready, we'll bring in Alpha 2 users, and then, then we'll go more public with the big
Yeah,
stuff.
and I think all of us have experienced launches of games or testing platforms that we felt needed more time from a consumer, from a player's perspective. Um, and our approach, our philosophy is that essentially the game will be ready when it's ready. We're not striving for perfection. We're striving to achieve what the core loop is anticipated to be, what we've promised, what we're building right now. That is the goal. And we understand just how important it is to succeed during these testing periods, and obviously for launch, because MMOs traditionally really only get one stab at that launch. And they can, work to improve the game after launch if there's hiccups and whatnot that we've experienced, obviously. But really, we want to execute well on that initial launch. And what that means for us is we have to spend that time to ensure that what we are building is sustainable, is extensible, is performant, and represents what the core philosophy of gameplay loops are intending to be. And we're building a massive project. I mean, this is probably the most ambitious fantasy MMORPG to date at a launch frame, right? Obviously, other products, other franchises have had a decade plus to introduce and trickle out content. And one of the difficulties of launching an MMO, a new MMO, is that you have to compete or try to compete and contend with all of that content that's available, because it creates a really strong social elasticity for the players of those MMOs. And we want to be ensuring that our core gameplay loops are enjoyable, are fulfilling, and have content that keeps players invested for a long time to come. And because that's our goal, and we have a lot of those systems to build, the team is hard at work creating them in preparation for Alpha 2, which is probably going to be it is going to be one of our biggest test environments up until launch is Alpha 2. I mean, that is a
Yeah.
major slice of the game. So
I mean, like Steven said, we only get, one chance for first impressions. So it's very important for us. If Alpha 1 hadn't had gone as well as it did, people might not be as excited for Alpha 2. So thinking about the future of that and the longevity of our project and making sure that people are, going to love what we're creating as much as possible. And as we've said many times, we're constantly going to take feedback. And there are, decisions that we've made as, on the design front that we want to come to fruition. And we know that sometimes it's not what you guys are always interested in, but we were like, give us a chance, play it, give us feedback, and we will, alter things as we go forward. But I think we're really excited, just as excited for you guys to join us and see what we're creating. I mean, from a developer's perspective, there's nothing greater than seeing someone enjoy the product that you've created. And I mean, obviously, we all want to enjoy it too. I think that we've had a lot of fun internally, which we might be
yes.
sharing some of that internal fun with you guys next month. But I like
Oh,
we've definitely trying to make sure that we're creating something. And I think one of the things that people might not realize is that MMOs take a really long time to make. That's why we're like, this is a journey that you're going on with us. You're getting to see what
yes.
development is like. And I think that
From the
what's going to be,
get-go.
yeah, from the get-go. And
Yeah.
what's going to be fun is you're going to get to see that journey. And then when we look back on this at launch, we're going to be like, wow, it's crazy seeing how,
Oh,
even
yeah.
now looking at what was the beginning of Ashes of Creation and what it is now,
And
is
the
crazy.
cool thing is that journey is likely going to be expressed as even part of a documentary when we're done with this thing, right? We record all of our meetings, all of our sessions, everything is kept on a record. So when we're done launching this product, we have an opportunity to really give an under the hood look at the Herculean effort it's taken to get to where we are today and where we will eventually be soon enough.